And we all want to start off on the right foot. So today I'm going to tell you some proven strategies to help you level up your teaching game. Hi, I'm LaWanda Shields, and this is my space for fellow teachers, homeschool moms, and or homeschool dads. And today we're looking at some strategies we can use to level up our teaching game as our babies come back to school. So I'm not going to waste your time, because if you like me, your time is precious. So we're going to get right into this video. The first thing I'm going to tell you is to be sure that you build relationships with your students right from the door. The first day of school, begin to build those relationships with your students. How can you build relationships? You start by asking them about themselves and find out the things that your students like. I like to do interest inventories. That way I know what my students are interested in. I know what they want to learn and what they don't want to learn. And I know which approaches to take with them. I also give them a learning style inventory. That way I know if they are a kinesthetic learner, if they're a visual learner, if they're auditory learner, what can I utilize to best help them in the classroom. So the first few days of school is imperative that you begin to build those relationships with your students. Greet them at the door with a good morning. Wave at them in the hallway. Say hi. I know years ago when I first started teaching, they always told us, don't smile until Christmas. Don't let them students get a hold of you. Don't do this, don't do that. And follow the rules for a pretty long time. But I'm going to tell you, you attract more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. And that's the old saying, and it is true. You would do better with your students if you show yourself as being approachable and friendly. Don't take it too far. Be sure you're drawing the line between friend and between teacher. But establish those friendships, establish those relationships from the first of school. And it's okay to be nice. It's okay to be friendly. Another thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you establish those relationships with your parents. Introduce yourself to your students' parents right from the jump. You can send an introductory letter out telling them about who you are, your educational background, a few little tidbits about yourself, your classroom expectations. I like to send a classroom syllabus home, or at least an outline of what my parents can expect from me. And this works great. Be sure you have those contact calendars in place and begin to contact your parents. And we're not talking about just contacting them when something bad happens. Call them. Call them all the time. Even those parents that you don't really like to talk to. Call your parents. Call them. Send them an email. Send them a message through Classroom Dojo or through your classroom school status, or whatever it is that your district is using to contact your parents. But make contact between you and them a regular thing. Make it a norm for your room, for your classroom this year, and you'll notice that things will go much, much better for you. Another way you're going to be successful this year is you're going to have to establish a relationship with your coworkers. You work in the same building or the same room or the same whatever it is with your coworkers, same district. So it is imperative that you build good relationships with them. You need to be sure that you're showing yourself friendly, that you are finding out how far to go with their lines, or that you are not crossing those lines. Okay? So be a good friend to your coworkers. Try to do some working together, not team teaching, but working together with your coworkers. Find out what you can do to help them and what they can do to help you. Take the time to learn about their interests and what they like and what they don't like. That way you can make better gel together, and this will help to ensure that you have a smoother year. Be sure from the jump, your students know what your expectations are. Our expectations dictate how well our students are going to perform. It's just like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If your expectations are low, then your students are going to perform to the level of your expectations. So it's what you expect. You make your year what you want your year to be. So let's make sure we have high expectations for our students. We have high expectations for ourselves, and that we're communicating these to them. My next tip for you is to get organized. Make sure you are organized. Some of us have a problem with organization. Not calling it a days, but some of us do. But the better organized you are, the better your year is going to flow. It can flow easy because you have a set place for everything. You know how to walk straight to it, grab it, and you're ready. As the school year goes on, it's going to get hectic. Trust me, it is going to get hectic. And so if you can go ahead and plan ahead, because failure to plan is planning to fail, plan ahead. Have everything already laid out as much as possible that you can. And that way your year can run a little smoother. And make sure you have everything organized. Have your system set up and in place. Explain your systems to your students. They need to help keep the room clean. They need to help keep the room organized along with you. So when you are as far as your lesson plans go, make sure that you have listed out your objective for that lesson plan. Make sure you have your assessment method laid out, the materials that you're going to need to teach that lesson. That way when you get ready for it, you can just go straight to it and have it. And what I have found helpful is to go ahead and put all that material in a bin or a little a large size shoebox or organizational pack, one of those little things, folders, and that way you can just go to it and everything's already laid out. Now if you teach real small children and you're setting up centers, you may not be able to do this, but with older kids you can have your materials and stuff ready so you can just grab them and pull them out. It's going to help you so much as your year progresses. Arrange your room in a way where your students can get around in your room. You can use seating charts, whatever's going to help you to keep your room organized. Speaking of organization, I started talking about this, but routines. Make sure you have taught your students routines. Teach them the routines the first few days of school. Show them how to come into your classroom. Don't just tell them, show them, model it. Help them walk through it, go through it, go over and over those first few weeks of school so they'll know what to expect. I had a clap. My students knew when they heard the clap to get up from the cafeteria or wherever they were and follow me. I didn't have to say a word. I taught them this the first of school, so they knew my routine. They knew what to expect. Told this story before, but it is true. I used to look my students. I would have them for 5th grade and 6th grade, and so I had a set of students that came in one year, and I was going over the rules, and I was going over my expectations, and I was talking, giving my usual spiel to the class, and I saw them back there just working. They were just getting down right, and I said, "Hey, what are you girls doing?" And they said, "Oh, we're doing our homework." I said, "There's no way you're doing homework." And they said, "Yes, we are." I said, "Well, show me." And they said, "We're doing this," and they explained to me exactly what they were doing, because I always gave out my vocabulary list. I always gave out my spelling words. I always gave my journal topics by the 9 weeks. So they had what they needed 9 weeks in advance. They were back there just working so hard in the world. They said, "We had you last year. We know exactly what you want. So we're going to go ahead and get started on it now." And I was like, oh, okay. I couldn't say anything because they knew what to expect from me because they had me before. So once you have explained your expectations, your students know what to expect, and they're going to give it to you. Create a positive classroom environment. Let your children know when they have done well. Don't be afraid to give them praise. Don't be afraid to tell them, "Hey, you did a good job today. Hey, that was awesome. Man, I'm proud of you." Do that so you can establish a atmosphere of praise, atmosphere of positivity. We want our students to be positive, so be sure that we create this with them. Don't be afraid of technology this year. I know if you're a veteran teacher like I am, and they're constantly coming out with these new programs, and they're constantly coming out with new systems they want you to learn, sometimes you can be frustrated and even overwhelming, but don't be afraid to incorporate technology into your classroom. I like to have my students do a digital vision board. They can do a digital portfolio. There's a lot of things that your students can do. If you're using a learning program, don't hesitate to use those learning programs. Learn as much as you can about them and figure out how to use them effectively. Allow your students some autonomy. Give them a say in what goes on in your classroom. The first few days of school, I like to have my students help with creating the rules and the norms for our class. So by doing that, then they have a say in what's going on, and they don't feel like, "I'm going to her room. These are her rules." Make them a part of the rule-making process. And if you don't want to use rules, you can say routines, expectations for the class. Make them a part of what's going on. Make them a part, so then they have ownership of their learning. They have ownership of their classroom, and things will flow a lot smoother for you. Make sure that your lessons are data driven. Make sure you use the data. Have data talks with your students. Call them to you. Have a day set aside after you've taken tests and discuss the data. Discuss what has happened. Discuss their scores. How did they make them? Why did they do this? Where do they need to go? So you're going over their goals. You're going over what they've done. You're having data talks. You're having data conversations. And so your students know exactly where they're performing and what you expect them to do better, or if they're on the right track. Make sure their parents are part of this. No, I'm not saying you have to call your parents every time you have chance to have them come in the room when you do data talk. But please keep them informed of what's going on with their little sweet baby so that they know. Have your support system in place to help you. Because, as I said, the year's going to start, and sometimes it can get frustrating and things get to coming at you so fast you don't know if you're coming or going. But have your support systems in place. Know what days are going to be your down days. Know what days are going to be the days in which you're working on lesson plans. Have a system set up already. And have your system of who can you call, who can you talk to about what's happening in your room, who can you turn to. So have your systems already ready. If you need to train your children how to do something, and I know that you're going to laugh when I say it, but I'm from the country, so I have chicken. I have to feed my chicken before I go to work. And sometimes it's a problem because it's dark outside and I don't want to go out to the chicken coop in the dark. But I want them to be fed because they have to be. So I have to train my son how to take care of the chicken and other animals while I am heading off to work. So that may sound weird and way off topic, but that is a system I have to put in place for me so that I can get to work on time and be the best me, be the best Miss Shields that I can. So this year, as you're heading back to school, make sure that you have an awesome year by using these proven strategies. If there's a strategy that you plan to use, please be sure to let me know in the comments below. If there's some strategies that you use that I didn't talk about, let me know in the comments below. And happy teaching. I'll see you guys in the next video.